Welcome to a special huddle where we'll celebrate the life and work of our wonderful friend and colleague, James Whale. James lost his battle with cancer on Monday morning, a disease that affected him on and off for over 20 years. He got diagnosed with the most recent attack in 2020, and at that point, he was given just months to live. But the man, always positive and always fighting, battled for 5 years. James will always remain the godfather of talk. No one will ever match the true king of late nights. And over the course of the next 15 minutes, we'll remember the legend and our great friend, James Whale.
With great regret, we bring you the heartbreaking news. Our very own James Whale has passed after his terminal cancer battle. He was 74 years old. James Whale began his career way back in 1975 when he pioneered the late-night phone-in. In his time, he hosted numerous shows for ITV, the BBC, finally ending up with us here at Talk Radio in 2016.
Look, normally you think as a boss that you've got to put, on a brave face. You've got to have a stiff upper lip, but it's really hard today. I've got to say that James is a remarkable man, right? And James, the way that James was throughout his most recent battle with cancer, this lasted 5 years, was quite astonishing. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody be so positive over such a long period of time, fighting every single day. It was just incredible to watch. And I remember the first time I ever had a conversation with him when he explained that he had vicious terminal cancer. And as I said, that was 5 years ago. He said, I've got probably a couple of months to live. And then we were 5 years on, we were still being positive and booking him for shows and getting him in, and he was still entertaining the nation.
If I have a few more months, that will be great. If I have until next Christmas or this coming Christmas, will be nice, wouldn't it? But if I die tomorrow, I've had an amazing time and I married an amazing lady.
Obviously very sad news, expected, but very sad. But James genuinely was a broadcasting pioneer, a broadcasting legend, the king of late-night phone-ins. I mean, and you mentioned the word comedic a moment ago. I mean, he would often take a position that was entirely contrary to what he really believed in, just for the sake of public debate. And if you think about that in the broader context of what freedom, democracy, society is all about, James was completely a part of it. When he was serious, of course, he really passionately believed in things, and he was grounded in very, very good values. The first time I met him, I went in to do a 10 o'clock till 10:30, let's get the newspaper headlines type thing, and I finished up staying on with him till 1 a.m, and I thought, well, how the hell am I going to get home? And James gave me a lift.
James was a broadcasting legend. He was also a great friend of mine for over 20 years. A great sense of humour on and off the screen. It's just a one of, and I think we don't really appreciate these people till they're no longer with us. What a gentleman. I think he played the hard man on the TV, but he had an heart of gold. He set up his own charity, a kidney cancer charity, helped to raise lots of funds for it.
Problems with all cancers is nobody bothers to get checked. And if you get checked early, then you will actually have a much better outcome. But people don't do that.
He was involved with many other charities. You know, for me, he was a great friend.
Do you know, I loved him. I'm old enough to see him on TV like years and years ago.
Yeah.
And when he did his first show, I think it was on Yorkshire TV, on a Friday night, he'd throw people out of that. And I worked at the BBC for 18 years myself. So when I saw people throwing people out of a TV studio, I thought, this is an amazing guy, amazing. And I think he started there. I think he was, can I say the original Simon Cowell? Because he gave lots of people like Charlie Chuck, the comedian, and other people, singers, their chances on TV. That's where it started, that TV show. I don't think he realised what a bigger celebrity he was. And when you see the amount of people have said what they've said about him over the last 24 hours, it's been amazing. And that's him. He was the start of it all, I think.
We were all young and silly and having the time of our life, and James was fantastic. He was a really good broadcaster. he was a really nice friend, and you felt as though you got to know him incredibly quickly, not only through his work, but actually as part of the production team. He was just terrific to work with. He had some difficulty in taking in a lot of information on paper because he was dyslexic. So actually how we fed him information was delivered in a way that was easier for him. But actually what he was brilliant at was being off the cuff, just being him.
Natural, yeah.
A total natural.
He was a good friend of mine. James first came to my attention back in the late 80s. When he had a TV show called the James Whale Radio Show that was on TV, or the Whale on TV. And he was a trailblazer, someone that broke the mould. And the way that we have speech radio today, he was very much part of what still continues today. He was one of the very first and one of the very, very best. I got to know James very well. I've known him 20 years. And he was a bit of a mentor to me when I first came here at TalkSport. He would regularly contact me, give me some tips. And he was very, very supportive. In true James Whale style, he was bullish. He didn't feel sorry for himself. He was brave, very honest and open to what laid ahead for him. And it was just James Whale. I got to know the man. He is a broadcasting legend. He's someone that I looked up to very early on in my broadcasting career.
The only reason I got into this craziness was him. He was an absolute fearless legend, a man who believed that it was about people, believed it was about opinion, never shied away from being brave enough to say what he felt. That resonated with me early doors. And listen, it's so heartbreaking. It's one of those things where you know, you believed it was coming. We were really lucky. Mike and I.
He trailed it, Jez, hadn't he, in fairness? So I mean, everybody knew it was coming, but I certainly didn't expect it.
But that's the measure of the man, that he was able to talk because he knew that would benefit perhaps other people who wouldn't perhaps think to do something.
And Jez, we've got to pay tribute to this man, not just as the man, but I'm not sure the likes of Talk would exist without him being the pioneer of talk radio and talk TV back in the 80s and 90s. You know, I still remember his approach, his attitude, if you like, when he was on late night television back in the 80s, you know. And of course he's been fired from a lot of places. Now I hope it's not inappropriate to say that, and the Dean won't mind me saying, but I think that pioneering attitude, that approach, those sharp elbows will define that man as the pioneer of talk TV and radio.
Funnily enough, I went to see James in the hospice only a few days ago, and you know, it's not an easy thing to do, is it, to say goodbye? But there was a few of us there. We were from various different backgrounds. Some people from broadcasting, me obviously from politics. There was a guy, a friend of his, who'd driven him for 20 years, and I have to say I haven't had that much fun in an awfully long time. It was a great afternoon. We laughed an awful lot. That's the thing about him. He's just an exceptionally funny man. And you know, I've been listening to him since I was about 10 years old. He's just an incredibly nice guy. He was an incredibly nice guy. And he would tell you, you know, he's only got one CSE or whatever it was that he said he'd left school with no qualification. Well, maybe, but he was just an incredibly smart guy.
Well, your career's been a miracle.
Yeah. Well, it has, considering I had no A-levels, O-levels, CSEs, or even a letter after my name for broadcasting.
You said to me the other day, you've never really had a job.
I haven't.
He always knew the way the conversation was going and managed to make the conversation play in an interesting way so that it was interesting for you if you were talking to him.
I just couldn't believe it, you know, this day had actually come, and we just are going to miss him so much because he's such a big part of our lives.
And he was such a big part of your life, wasn't he? You referred to him as being a father figure.
Indeed, yes. I mean, I lost my father quite young, and when James came into my life, I actually met him over 30 years ago when he was first diagnosed with kidney cancer, and I don't know, we just had a chemistry. He was very, very kind to me. He wanted to help me in broadcasting. He was always supportive. He'd tell me if he thought I was good. He'd watch all the shows, but he'd certainly tell me if he didn't think I was any good. And he'd say what to do right, and tried to guide me and help me. And was and he'd always call me if he was down, and I would call him as well. And he really helped me through many bad times. I just can't think of life without him, to be honest, because we just spoke all the time, laughed all the time. When I said goodbye on Friday, I just said, James, is there anything you need me to do? What can I do? And he just said, can you get me 5 more years? And I said, I can't do that, James. And we had lots of laughter, and I was so honoured to do the shows with him and Ash on Saturday night. I used to get so excited driving to London Bridge. Really, every show was different. Didn't know what mood James was going to be in, if he was going to cut people off, throw them out the studio, have a go at Ash or me. And it just was so hilarious. And I just cherish those times. It was such great fun.
It's a bit of a shock, isn't it? I mean, we're all expecting it, and it's a tough one, man.
How long did you work with him, Ash?
30 years, yeah.
So you probably knew him. You knew him in broadcast terms probably longer than most.
Well, yeah, definitely, yeah, and it was a great ride. I mean, I remember when I first got to work with him, they said we want you to do work with James Whale, and obviously, because when I was 18, I used to watch the show on the TV, and I thought, great, this would be exciting. And it turned out it was exciting, and we had a great chemistry, and it just worked, didn't it? I think because of our different personalities is why it worked really well.
But he was so different. That's what I loved about him. He was so different.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course he was such a pioneer in a lot of things. I mean, he started the Top Shop radio station, for goodness sake. And then, because being on, he was a shock jock. I mean, he spoke his mind, and that's what I liked about him. He was just different.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to his programs and listen to programs on Talk, and I used to really enjoy them. And what I loved about him was that in the final days, he wasn't well, but he kept going.
James is a force of nature. He's a force of nature. When he first come into the house, the first night, I saw him. Second night, sitting on the bench outside in the garden, and he was just having a moment to himself, and I could see there was a little tear in his eye, and I could see that he was a bit emotional. And I was like, Mr. Well, how you doing? You okay? And he was like, oh, no. And he was missing his dogs, and he was missing his missus, and he was missing his house, and he was missing his ways, and he was missing his loved ones at that moment. And I got to see his heart, I got to see his soul, and we had many a beautiful conversation in there, not just about life, but about, politics and fun times and jokes and the amount of people that he's met over the years and stuff like that. And I've got a lot of love for James. I've got a lot of love for him. Like I say, I got to see his heart, and I got to see who he truly was. And yes, there was this big bravado and big brash type of guy, but underneath he was a softie. Underneath he really loved these dogs, and he really loved these misses.
Anyway, man, this is the first in a series of chats with me and James Wales.
I can assure you it's not.
Go on, have a Chris. Go on, bubbler. So have you anything to say about how great it is to be working with me for all these many years? It must have been amazing for you.
I tried to find something to put in the autobiography.
But yeah.
I couldn't find one thing good.
There's more pictures of his horse than me. There's not one picture of me. There's a picture of his horse.
Say about you.
Yeah, nothing.
In the autobiography.
At least a little picture. Anyway, man. All right? Thanks for a great 30 years. I'm going to miss you,